someone here call for an express chiropractic appointment? I am looking for a place that looks something like this. Ah, you did. Excellent. Okay. I'm always a bit nervous that I've ended up in the wrong area, which has happened before, which would explain why I ended up performing a mistakenly chiropractic adjustment on a gast, which I was not paid for. So this is opportune. Your name and perfect. That's exactly the name that I have on my sheet, which is good for both of us. All right. It looks like you are... Well, that's weird. It doesn't show what creature you have ordered the chiropractic adjustment on. That must have been some type of clerical mistake. Let me make a note of that. All right, so what creature are you in need of a chiropractic treatment on? Is it a pig, a sheep, horse, even a duck, chicken, anything like a creeper? Not a problem. Let me just make a note of that. And let me actually double check and make sure I have the extensive liability insurance. Okay, there it is. All right, full coverage. I don't see the combustion and spontaneous combustion clause. Ah, there it is. Never mind, not to worry. I am covered if in the unlikely scenario that your creeper explodes and, kills me or you, or a combination of the two. So not to worry, we can go ahead and proceed. Your creeper. What types of issues is your creeper suffering from? Or it doesn't, of course, list that in the sheet. I'm not sure what Cassandra was thinking. Wait, no. That was Jeremy that filled this order. That explains it. All right, so please, what issues are your creeper suffering from? Okay, so it is hissing at you in a troublesome way. Well, that is something to be concerned about. Now, I don't think I should have to tell you this, since it does seem as though you raise creepers. You do know that creepers do hiss from time to time, and then in the unfortunate circumstance explode. Okay, you do, but it doesn't usually hiss at you since you are its owner and close friend. All right, so unusual hissing behavior. How long has this been going on? All right, 3 days. Well, it might not seem like a long time, but with creepers and their explosive tendencies, 3 days can feel like 3 years. So I'm not surprised that you called. If I had to guess, and strangely enough, we do see this more often than I would like to, but most creepers with unnecessary and unwanted hissing and even explosions are usually suffering from inflammation of the chromoblock dermis, which causes irritability, and an irritable creeper is a deadly one, so we can definitely get that taken care of. Of course, it could be an issue with the... Well, let's hope not. Not to worry, no. Just forget I said that. Alright, so I can go ahead and get started. I have my portable table here on my cart. I'll get it set up if you want to bring your creeper on out very, very, very carefully. Very, 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 very carefully. I actually do have a quick and short waiver, but please be sure to read it all for you to sign. If you could just sign that right there. Since we are treating a creeper, there is obviously a small, slight, ever so slight chance that there will be an unwanted explosion. So just right. So I will get a signature that I have seen and witnessed your signature as well. And in the case that I do not survive this treatment, please do see that this is sent to my office so that my loved ones can be paid. All right. Well, go ahead and get started here. Any questions before we begin? All right, well, I'll get the table set up if you can just bring your creeper on around. Okay, just give me a moment. Okay, here we are. Now, bear with me. I'm going to be moving very slowly. I can do this. Okay. With these creepers, you have to really be very deliberate about all of your movements for obvious reasons. Anytime you hear the hiss, you just need to take a step back and just give it a moment. And I think since this one is a particularly aggravated creeper, we're actually going to begin with just, there we are, that's okay, a bit of gentle brushing. This will help relax it and ease that tension on its chloroblock dermis, which those are the tightly packed pixels that cover its body, which is most likely what's causing its irritable nature. When those chloroblock dermis pixels get inflamed or irritated, they can cause a lot of discomfort for the creeper. Hence the tendency for abnormal combustion, even around those who they are very comfortable with. So we are just going to brush it out and help it feel a bit more relaxed. That way, hopefully, it will allow me to go on with the chiropractic adjustment. Alright. It seems like that's working, so we're just going to continue to get a bit of slight brushing, maybe in an upward direction. Just a bit more, and it should be a bit more relaxed, which will make my job a lot easier. Just a few more rapid brushes. There we are. The eyes and general face area of the creeper can oftentimes get irritated by debris and branches and things like that as it creeps through the brush and debris of the overworld here. So a quick brush can oftentimes set its mind at ease. And just a few more here at the top. Alright, let's set that to the side. There we are. It doesn't seem to be as angry at this point. Okay. So the first thing that we are going to adjust is just the neck here, or just the torso. And of course we are trying to avoid, like I said, if we do hear that hiss, it's best to just reset. So we are just going to slowly and gently adjust. 1, 2, 3. There we are. Just very carefully and very slowly. 1, 2, 3. There we are. 1, 2, 3. There we go. It might look like the adjustments are just very slight, but 1, 2, 3. I assure you, with a creature like your creeper here, it's better safe than sorry. 2, 3. The slightest of movements can cause that volatile 2, 3 core matrix to combust, which would mean 2, 3. Almost certain death for both of us, which 1, 2, 3. I'm sure you're well aware of as a creeper handler. Okay. Now just a slight twisting motion. 3. Always careful here. Alright, let's try that again. 1, 2, 3. And there we are. Other side now. 1, 2, 3. And there we are. And just back to the other side. 1, 2, 3. And perfect. Just ever so slightly. 1, 2, 3. And there we are. 1, 2, 3. And that one. I expected to hear a hiss on that one. That was a bit too aggressive. 1, 2, 3. Much better. Okay. And now to the feet area. We're just going to get a nice little twist here. 1, 2, 3. And we're just going to adjust all 4. 1, 2, 3. And moving around. 1, 2, 3. And perfect. Last. 1, 2, 3. There we are. Okay, let's just see how that Chloropoc dermis is reacting to the treatment. Maybe just a brief brush just to make sure that it's remaining relaxed. nice and slowly here. All right, and a few more adjustments. 3, 2, 1, and perfect. To the other side. 1, 2, 3. Just always ensuring 1, 2, 3 that we are careful not to upset that volatile core matrix. 1, 2, 3. That is the last thing that you want to do. 1, 2, 3. To the other side. 1, 2, 3. There we are. And one more. 1, 2, 3. Perfect. Alright, we haven't heard a hiss in quite a while, so that's a good sign that your creeper is feeling a lot better. So let's just make sure that it doesn't have any debris in those eye areas before we move on. Sometimes even with the brushing, some of that debris can be a bit stubborn. Especially in the hills like you live in here, there can be a lot of very rugged terrain, so I'm sure that your creeper spends a lot of time traversing up the rocks, so dust and particles are commonly lodged in these eye sockets. There we are. Just scratching some of that dust out of that area. Shouldn't take too much longer. Your creeper is definitely one for travel, I can tell, just by the build-up here. Alright, just a bit of finishing brush. Let me go ahead and just make sure that we don't have any tense areas. That chloroplock dermis is feeling much more relaxed, and I think that your creeper will be feeling much more like itself. Of course, it has hissed at me more frequently just because I'm a stranger. I know that it was strange that it was hissing at you, so that should be actually right here. 3, 2, 1. The abnormal hissing should be, that's perfect, should be all but settled. So I think I think your creeper should be good to go. If you want to allow it to head back to its sleeping area, or I guess it is night, so it might be going out on the prowl, but either way, I think that we can get everything put up here and get your prescription and your next appointment all sorted out. Alright, give me a moment to take apart my table and I'll be on my way. we were both in luck. Your creeper actually responded really well to the treatment. No explosions, which means I've done something right. So, always a bit nervous when treating creepers, but I'm happy to say that that one went quite smoothly. So, I'm going to jot down that we did treat that chromoblock dermis. It was the issue after all, and not the volatile core matrix, which I was worried about. It's what I didn't want to mention at the beginning, because usually if that's an issue, then an explosion is imminent. So I don't like to worry the owner or caretaker. Okay, I would recommend a follow-up treatment in 2 weeks. I'll be sure to make sure that someone else makes that call. All right, you could just go ahead and sign, acknowledging that treatment has been given to your creeper. All right, thank you. We will, of course, bill as usual, and I thank you so much for utilizing our express chiropractic service. If you do have any other issues, or if that creeper does in fact explode later, please call the office and let us know. All right, well, please have a wonderful rest of the evening.